Islam Wars, Islam Wars, Islam Wars. Today's class is on higher self and lower self. Now, today is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Sunday. It's a beautiful Sunday, and I am here on a platform uh, to talk about higher self and lower self. What I want to say about higher self and lower self, because we have each and every one of us has a higher self and a lower self. It is called self. It is you. It is the good things you do versus the bad things you do. Now, what am I saying when I say this? Now, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America was a divine document, a divine affidavit, a constitution, a trust, a Bible for the Moors, for their reemergence back into society from subjugation, capitulation, as well as from slavery, because they were denationalized, not outside of themselves, because of energy, as well as because of their own undoing. This class today is on the higher self and the lower self, because as we are emerging from capitulation to independence within our Moroccan Empire, we have to realize that we only are going to achieve this in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And saying that, and just saying that is not enough. To just say, I'm on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Your actions and your content and your what energies you bestow on the planet will dictate if you truly are in your higher self and not in your lower self. So, what am I saying when I say that? That means know thyself. Know thyself in Allah, who created all, who created you, and who you are the physical manifestation of. Physical manifestation of the thought of Allah. That's what each and every one of us are. The physical manifestations of the thought of Allah, manifested in the flesh. That is what we are. The Circle 7 101s that all of the Moorish Science Temples teach on Sunday school are there for your spiritual salvation. The classes that they have, it's not just about going there and just thinking that you're going to get remedies. And you're going to get remedies. You just have to come here because you want to, one, first, know thyself in Allah. That's what Prophet Noble Drew Ali was trying to tell Moors. He created this in 1913. He created this or around that time, because I don't know when he penned this document to save the nation, because he came to you, Moors, because you and I needed him the most, because we hate instead of love. And the realities are, you can see the hate that people are, the energy, the hateful energy that people are bestowing because they're showing it to you. You have a duty to respond to it in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You have to love, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. What is the opposite side of that? What is the lower self of that? Because that is your higher self. If you are operating in your higher self, you're operating in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If you are operating in your lower self, the other half of yourself, you are operating in lies, lies, because it's what? Love, then you got hate. Truth, then you got lies. Freedom, then you condone slavery. What am I missing? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Hate, lies, war, slavery, corruption. Hate, lies, war, slavery, and corruption. This is difficult for me to do because I'm too focused on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Not lies, hate, lies, slavery, war, and corruption. Hate, lies, slavery, war, and corruption. Hate, lies, slavery, war, and corruption. Hate, lies, slavery, war, corruption. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Hate, lies, war, slavery, and corruption. I'm going to say it yet again. Hate, lies, war, slavery, and corruption. If that is the energy you are emitting, that is the frequency you are on. No matter, just say love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, because everybody can say the words, but it's the energies and the actions that are supposed to follow. Two selves, babies. Prophet Noble Drew Ali is standing like this. He ain't standing like this. He's standing like this. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You try to get your negative self to kind of be on the same positive frequency, to not give way to the lower self, because we all have the lower self within ourselves. We all have it. And Prophet came here to do what? Teach you to love instead of hate. Nationality is the order of the day. Nationality is not just you declaring and proclaiming your nationality. It's about those 5 principles also being a party to your enlightenment and your emergence out of the darkness, which is hate, lies, corruption, war, and slavery. And I said that out of turn, because if you do it in order, you'll learn it quicker and you'll be able to say love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Hate, lies, war, slavery, corruption. Hate, lies, war, slavery, corruption. I'm staying on that because you need to know, and you need to always be mindful of which side you're on. If you don't know anything, if someone didn't tell you something, right, and you got it from someone else, and you didn't hear it directly from the person who you're claiming to be saying this about, whatever it is, and this is just an example, then you don't know. You're making an assumption, and we know what it means to make an assumption. So you could be in your lower self and you don't even know it, because you're spreading hate, lies, slavery, corruption, and war, because you're warring. War is a disagreement. That's all it means. It doesn't necessarily mean you go outside in the street and you have a gun and you're waving it. That doesn't necessarily mean war. War starts and ends in a courtroom or in some type of assembly where people come together to avoid the physical confrontation of a war. When disputes can no longer exist. Moors, what Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he came to give you your nationality back. He came to get you out of your lower self to your higher self. People who govern are in their higher self, even though you may think that when you look outside, they're in their lower self. Well, guess what they got? Laws, processes, procedures, ramifications, and penalties for violating the peace, the trust. You know, in a logical sense of the word, if somebody injures you, physical or injures something that is a part of your intellectual property or actual property, they are in violation. They are warring against you. It is your responsibility to seek a remedy, but they're supposed to be doing it on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and on law. So Prophet Noble Drew Ali came here to say, know thyself and Allah, the creator, who created you, who you are a manifestation of. That's what he came to do. The Holy Quran for the Moorish Science Temple of America is the book for all Moors. Whether you declare yourself as a Moroccan national, a Moorish American, a Moor with the UUR, you all are held to the divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Not hate, lies, war, slavery, and corruption. Because if you don't want to give information, if you don't want to support each other in our emergence from the darkness, because we were in this, and many of us think that we can stay in this and claim this. Well, you can't. Law is going to tell you that. Law is going to show you that. Right. So let's get into a little bit of the Circle 7. I call it the Circle 7. I've always called it the Circle 7. But it's really the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Moors, you were born subjected to America under that jurisdiction based on how you were birthed into this manifestation. So you were a Moorish American because you couldn't be a Moroccan national because where was the states? Where were the Moors? They were capitulating to American jurisdiction. That's why they call you a Moorish American Islam. Prophet Noble Jew Ali said in his Quran, Holy Quran, for the circles for the Moorish Science Temple of America, for the Moors. He came and he said, I quote, the prophet and the founder of the Moorish Holy Temple, because that's what it was originally named, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, to redeem. So he's the great redeemer, to redeem the people from their sinful ways. To redeem you Moors, us Moors, from our sinful ways. What are the ways that we are sinful in our lower self? 5 attributes are here. 5 lower principles versus the 5 principles of light. Hate. Because we hate ourselves, we lie. We lie about the very fact that we are not Black, Negroed, and colored. That's a lie. And history shows you that that is a lie. That is not who you are. You're not a Negro, colored, Black, African American, or any one of those other titles that allude to slavery. You are not that. So because you're not coming from the correct principles of light, you're coming into darkness. And because you're lying about all of those things, it's a sequential order. If you hate yourself, you're going to be lying. If you lie, you're not at peace. You're at war. And if you're at war, now you want to have slaves that capitulate to you because you have to fight the war. And who's on the side of the war? Most wars have slaves that's fighting for freedom, i.e. Asiatics. They was fighting as slaves to get free. Kind of weird. If you're not going to be yourself, if you're lying about who you are, you're hating yourself. So if you hate yourself, you hate everybody else, and you talk about everybody else, and you spread lies about everybody else. And because you're spreading lies, you're trying to create a war, a dispute. Because that's all what a war means. It means disputes. Stop letting television dictate how you or what you know. Open a book. And then if you're warned, guess what is the spoils of war? Slaves. And what happens and instills after that? All types of corruption. Because now these slaves are capitulating to whoever won the war that was established because of the hate and the, the lies. So when people are not telling the truth, and can they tell someone else's truth? No, they cannot. Only you, I, or anybody else can tell their own truth. Because when someone else is starting to get on platforms, starting to say things, well, now they're spreading lies because they don't know the truth. Because how can they? Because you didn't hear it from whoever they're lying on. So what are they truly trying to create? Lower self-dwelling, not higher self-frequency. Know the difference, Moors. Because Prophet Noble Jew Ali came to teach and establish the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish Holy Science Temple of America, the Moorish Holy Science Temple of America. That's what it says. That's the original name. The Moorish Holy Temple of Science. I said it wrong. See how when you're not the creator of things, you can corrupt it a little bit because you didn't create it. So you're reading off someone else's things, right? Prophet Noble Jew Ali can only tell you what he did, why he came here, but his literature that he might have left that is in its original format would be a written down presentation or presentment of what he wrote. That's if it hasn't been manipulated. But he's not here to say, yes, I did that. No, I didn't do that. So now you got to go on the energy and what makes sense that he bought. So he said, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. That was the original organization that was established to get the Moors, or it didn't even say Moors, it said people. So he came to fix it, people. Now, it might be different types of people or different types of things that people are claiming to be, but he just said people. He said the prophet and the founder of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science to redeem the people from their sinful ways. He didn't even say Moors. He said people. That's what he said. I read out of the circle seven. I call it the circle seven because once you start calling things something, it's hard to take it to stop saying it. Like it's hard to stop saying I'm a black person. It's hard to stop calling your children kids, which are goats. It's hard to stop saying, "Oh, you're so nice. I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid." It's hard to stop saying things that you have been saying for a long time. So give yourself a break, and when you catch the misrepresentation, just correct it. Catch it, correct it. But don't dwell in the emotionality because someone pointed it out. We got to get past our egos and our pride and realize us Asiatic, Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to us first because we were in the lowest state and the lowest state in the world, the Moors. So chapter 1 of the divine instructions, the creation and the fall of man. And understand, man is both woman, masculine and feminine energy. It's not necessarily only talking about the male perspective. It's talking about the male and the female, both man, both woman. Islam. So I like the first chapter. It's very lengthy, but it just talks about the fall of man. Well, how did he fall? It doesn't necessarily only talk about the fall of man. It also talks about how he is to rise, that he does have support and protection, but he's going to have to deal with all of the negative energy that he's put out there. So many foes, many people, many individuals are going to claim things, and he has to go through those trials and tribulations. But victory is assured as long as he's over here, right? As long as he and she is over here, victory is assured. As long as they're not here, right? And what is here? Hate, lies, war, slavery, corruption. Hate, lies, war, slavery, corruption. Now, where I want to start here with chapter 1. With chapter 1 of the Holy Quran. Some people call it something different. But I'm going to scroll up because what I wanted to talk about really briefly was chapter 1, which is the creation and the fall of man. And I just wanted to talk about certain aspects of it and certain valid and relevant points. The whole entire article, the whole entire book is relevant. But I wanted to kind of just point out certain things because this video is not necessarily supposed to be a very thoroughly, educational video. It is to get you to start to read the Quran so you can learn your higher self and your higher self and your lower self. So you know which energies you're emitting at any particular time. So you know thyself. So it is our responsibility to know thyself, yourself, because you are required to hold you accountable. So one of the things that the chapter 1, the creation and the fall of man, that I wanted to highlight on here because it's a segue into your lower self, higher self. The whole purpose of me doing this video, a presentation will follow once I get the chance to do it. But I felt the need to put this out today, so I'm getting it done today. Man is not the body, nor the soul. Man is a spirit and a part of Allah, right? Man is a thought of Allah. All multitude of lessons man must learn upon the plane of soul. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength, and thoughts must be developed by the exercise of strength. He might be the strength of Allah made manifest. So everybody's not guaranteed to kind of overcome their lower self. Everybody's not going to be able to survive you, who you are, who you can have the potential to be when not checking this with this. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Because what is the lower self? Everything the higher self is not. Which is the opposite of love is hate. The opposite of truth is lies. The opposite of peace is war. freedom is slavery, and lastly, justice is corruption. So when you're not here, you're literally automatically here. And we as Asiatics, as Moors, as Moroccan nationals, Moorish Americans, because we are all one, literally, we all come from the same. That being said, unless you're an alien, and when I say an alien, I don't mean an alien from another part of this land. I mean, unless you don't have the DNA, the frequency, or the 666, then I'm not probably talking to you. I'm talking to everybody else who is that. The point I'm trying to make is that you have to check yourself before you wreck yourself. You know what I'm saying? We all are one. We all are connected, regardless of if some of us are here, others are here. We're all connected, literally. Man is the Lord of the plane of manifest, of protoplast, of mineral, of plant, of beast. But he and she gave up their birthrights. We gave up our birthrights just to gratify in our lower self, right? That's why we did. This is a segue into chapter 3. Islam, I'm back. Chapter 3, which is what? Elihu's lessons, the unity of life. Elihu's lessons, the unity of life is chapter 3. Chapter 3 is the Elihu lessons, the unity of life. And this is where we're talking about knowing where you are, checking yourself before you wreck yourself. Islam. Again, number 1, Elihu met his pupils in the sacred grove and said, number 2, no man lives unto himself. For every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing. What you do to me, you do to you. What I do to you, I do to myself. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they will love and not demand love in return. So I love you. You don't gotta love me back. It's cool. I'm cool with that. I'm okay because I love myself. And because I love myself first, I have the capacity and the abilities to love you, because love emits, and it can only receive if it's emitting. It cannot receive if it's not being emitted. Like frequency attracts like frequency. So Moors, realize if you're always around negative energy, if you're always around that, what are you doing to attract it? Why are you attracting that energy? Is that energy being emitted from you? They will not do to other men and women what they would not have other men or women do to you. So if you don't like to be talked about, why are you talking about people? If you want to be loved, you should be wanting to express that love. You shouldn't do unto others what you wouldn't want others to do unto you. Higher self, lower self. Higher self, lower self. If you're here, this is what you're going to attract. If you're here, this is what you're going to attract. But if this is what you're attracting and you're claiming to be here, technically you're here. I'm not talking about attracting, where you're manifesting, where you're naturally gravitating to. Islam? There are two selves. This is number 5. There are two selves. The higher self, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The lower self, which is the opposite of what the higher self is. And we said that is to be what? Hate, lies, war, slavery, corruption. The higher self is human spirit clothed with soul made in the form of Allah. Because didn't we talk about earlier that man is a thought of Allah? Okay. The lower self, the carnal self, the flesh, the body desire, the body of desire is a reflection of the higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. So you are not the man. The man is not the body. And it's never been the body. That is what encapsulates the soul, the spirit, the thought of Allah. So every man and woman is a thought of Allah, whether or not you accept it or not, you are a thought of Allah. So I can never hate you because you are me and I am you. So when you're here, it's my job to get you back here. But whose job is it ultimately to get you here? Who has the ultimate responsibility? You do. You do. I keep trying to tell you more is look in the mirror and really look at yourself and say, do you love yourself? I love me. I completely and utterly love me. That's why I have the capacity to love you. And that's why I do everything that I do, that I actually do. And if you want to know what that is, ask me. Because can't nobody else tell you my story. Only I can. Love you, Morse. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away because it's in a finite state of being. Because at one point it did not exist. It has a actual stamp date of establishment. So the lower self is an illusion and will pass away. And the higher self is Allah and man and will never pass away. Because the lower self they're trying to tell you the lower self is a flesh. And what the higher self is what's inside of this, which is the spirit. That's what they're trying to tell you. You are not this. This is just what is a representation. And it's not even a good representation of the spirit, the breath, whatever everybody wants to call it. What is truly you, what will never go away, and what is infinite and one with Allah. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so falsehood manifested. Over here. Okay? Y'all don't think this is a spiritual war that you're going through? Y'all think that it's all about the flesh? It's all about what you see, what you can feel, what you can taste, what you can touch? That's the illusion. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. Justice, mercy, love, and right. Mercy, boys and girls. Are you women and men? I can't tell. Women and men behave here. Boys and girls behave here. They talk a lot of junk. They just talk and talk and talk and nothing manifests because that's all they're doing is talking. The lower self is what the higher self is not. So if the higher self is justice, the lower self is corruption. If the higher self is mercy, the lower self is the opposite of whatever mercy is. You don't have mercy. You don't have any understanding. You don't have any compassion. You don't have any empathy for people. You are just an evil person. And nothing good comes from evilness. Opposites don't necessarily attract. Love, love, hate, right, wrong. I'll let that manifest for a couple of seconds. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. So when you harm me, you harm yourself, and more importantly, you harm Allah. When you harm me, because I am a thought of Allah, and I have feelings, and I'm in this human flesh just like you and yours. And I can be harmed by the physical attacks. But when you attack me, you attack yourself. And you don't get that you're attacking you. The higher self is mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. They just told you higher self is mother. I'm just going to tell you that. I'm just going to sit that there for y'all to digress. The higher self is mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. Prophet Noble Drew Ali wasn't carrying no man. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was carrying one man. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was taking her out the water and putting her on the earth, showing her that she don't have to be out there drowning. She can be secured on land. And that is the true energies that sons, fathers, men, brothers are supposed to be doing. Protection, defense, security. Prophet Noble Drew Ali is protecting, defending, and securing mother humanity by taking her out the water, putting her on the earth. Sons, what you need to ask yourself is, why are you not protecting humanity? I am a manifestation of that, just like every other woman out there is a manifestation of Allah. And you were supposed to be protecting her, supporting her, and defending her. And if she is in any way erred, it is your responsibility to correct her, but not go on public platforms to try and vilify her, because you're showing your true intentions. And we cannot hide from ourselves. Who we truly are inside will manifest, because we cannot manifest something that is not true with ourselves, right? The lower self is rich in promises, but poor in blessed and peace. Rich in promises, yeah. Lower self talks a lot of junk and doesn't actually substantiate or validate or produce what it promises. It never does. Y'all are learning this right now. I'm not going to say why or how, but you're learning this. It offers pleasures, joy, satisfying gain, but gives unrest, misery, and death. So how does it pleasures? We like to pleasure ourselves, we like to have so much fun out there. But get some work done so you can at least earn the fun that you have. And I don't mean, okay, you go to work Monday through Friday, you're a slave, babies, you're slaves. That's not work. That's capitulation. You're not working. You're not gaining. You're actually losing. What you celebrating? I would let her know. I know we need to have fun. I know, the chakras, and I know, my fun is independence, truth, sovereignty, integrity of domains. People really need to read these words and really need to go into the deep recesses of their minds. But if you hear, you ain't trying to do that because you fake and funk on a nasty dump. I know I'm dating myself. Love you. Love you all. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. So it looks good and it smells good. But the core is bitter and gall, and you learn that after the fact. After you bit it and you smelled it and you ate it. After you bit it, you smelled it, and you ate it, you realized it was bitter and gall and you could have did without it. I'll leave that there for a couple of seconds too. If you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves, and you will have studied them, and then would ask me what to study next, I would reply yourself. The only thing to study here, Moors, is yourself. Because once you study yourself and once you realize where you at and where you really want to be, then only can progression occur. It doesn't occur before you study yourself and find yourself. Because if you don't start studying yourself, your creator is going to give you these trials and tribulations I just told you. A multitude of lessons a man must learn upon the plane of soul. A multitude of lessons a man must learn on the plane of soul. You're not getting out of learning your lessons, Morris. You're not getting out of it. No matter how much you think you may be getting out of it, you have to learn your lessons. So if you're saying you're vibrating here, if you're saying you're here, right? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. If you're here, you're going to be challenged, and you're going to be challenged, and you're going to have trials and tribulations, and you're going to have foes that's going to test that. It's going to test it and find out. I'm just spitting all over the place. You're going to get tested to find out if you really here. If you really here. We're here. And because man is mind, whatever you think you are, you are. You literally are that if you think it. So, whether you say you're here, your actions, the energy that's in you, it's going to come out to show you who you really are. And I love that because I'm like, yo, mom, I don't really got to do nothing. So I really don't have to do nothing. I just love you enough to tell you what needs to be said that everybody should be saying. I should be saying it, Moors. Where was I at? Hmm. It gives men apples. I did say that. So I'm gonna just repeat number 13. And they call them iots. Iot 13. It gives men apples that are lovely to the eyes and pleasant to the smell, but their cores are full of bitterness and gall. Number 14, if you would ask me what to study, I would say yourself. And if you would ask me what to study again, I would say yourself. You're here to study you. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. Study yourself. Excuse me. He who knows well his lower self, because you have it, you don't get rid of it, it's always there. It never leaves. You just learn how to control it and you know how to be here and only come here when emergency cases. And there's only really one emergency case for which you are supposed to go to your lower self. And that is in defense of life and liberty and limb. Right? Only time you're supposed to go there. Really. Right? Only time Allah sanctions it, in my opinion, based on what I've read thus far. And it's just my opinion. You have a different opinion? You don't have to go on social media trying to blast. If you got a different opinion, just state it. And if it is in harmony with what my energy says and what I've read and what my history says, then I'll comply. Like, yeah, okay, I was wrong. You're right. That's how you're supposed to be coming. You're supposed to come to me if you have an issue with me. Just like I'm supposed to come to you if I have an issue with you. I don't have an issue with any of you. I don't even think of you. I think of you only in this presentment. Love, truth, freedom, and justice, building these states and getting the protection the people have been asking for and needing. And if you are in a seat of position or power, you're responsible. No matter what you think, you are in that position to do what it is you are in that position to do, and nothing more. He who knows his lower self knows the illusions of the world, knows the things that pass away, and he knows his higher self, knows Allah, knows the things that can't pass away. Thrice blessed is the man who has made purity and love his own. He has ransomed from the perils of the lower self and himself, he's higher self. And his is himself, his higher self. So your job is to not be here, is to always be here. Right? Men seek salvation from an evil that deem a living monster of the ether world. And they have gods that are but demons in disguise, all powerful, yet full of jealousy, hatred, and lewdness. So you got false idols. They're talking about false idols there. Whose favors must be bought with costly sacrifice and fruit, and the lives of birds and animals and humankind. So they're talking about human sacrifices or animal sacrifices to give appreciation for your fictitious and idol god. Because the dead needs living things. The dead needs living things. So you got to keep sacrificing to the dead. And yet these gods possess no ears to hear you because they don't exist in actual reality. No ears to hear you, no eyes to see you, no hearts to sympathize, no power to save. They're an illusion, baby, because they're on your lower self. The evil is a myth that gods are made of air and clothed with shadows of a thought. The only evil from which men must be redeemed, self, the lower self. If man would find his devil, he must look within because his name is self. If man would find his savior, he must also look within when the demon self has been dethroned. So when you're no longer operating under your lower self, you're here. The savior love will be exalted on the throne of power. So if you're here, this is where you are. This is controlling you until this defeats it. The love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice within you, because it's within us. This is just ruling you. The murky ethers of the manifested flesh. The David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath in the dark and seats the Savior, love, upon the throne. Islam, that's the higher self and that's the lower self, right? In conclusion, man will regain his lost estate. This is back to chapter 1. I just went to the lower self and the higher self because that's how he lost his heritage, right? Because that's what it said earlier. Do you remember when I said that? It said it here. Where did it say that? Man is the Lord of the things of the man of the plane of manifest, the protoplast, of mineral, of plant, of beast, but he gave up his birthright just to gratify his lower self. And that's where we got into lesson 3. Higher self, lower self. Higher self is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Lower self is hate, lies, war, slavery, and corruption. Okay? So if you're here, how you getting this? Because peace is over here. War is over here and slavery is over here. Justice is over here. But if this is all you're doing, how are you going to liberate yourself? Because the first person that needs to be liberated is you. You need to redeem yourself from your lower behavior and put your higher self on the throne and keep that lower self in check. The stars, the astrology helps with that, knowing thyself. You need to know why you came here. Astrology shows you why you came here, what lessons you came here to learn. I have some lessons that I got to learn, and man, it's hard. And when I want to come on a platform, I want to come on a platform that's talking love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's why I even promote the Moorish Science Temple of America. Because they have Sunday schools, they have traditions, they respect women in those temples. I don't know what they do after they get out, but within that temple, they have that respect and that system. But we know in the outside, people are in their lower self. That's where they in there trying to claim while they talking. In any temple, I'm talking everybody. I'm talking about us all. And the temple is within. It's not a building. It's you. You are the temple. 1 minute you're here, the next minute you're here. Be consistently here. Man will regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must do this in a conflict that cannot be told in words. He must suffer the trials and temptations, manifest more. But let him know the cherubims and the cherubim, I can never say these two words, so mind you, the cherubims and the seraphims that rule the stations of the sun and the spirit of the Almighty Allah, who rule the solar stars, are his protector and his guide, and they will lead to victory. But you got to do the work. And being in your higher self, Morris. We're in the situation we're in because of our lower selves, Morris. We're not in it because of anything outside of that. And if you go to chapter 25, we can go to chapter 25, and actually we'll close on chapter 25. Because we are here in the lower self when we are violating each other. So I'm never going to come on a platform and talk about you. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to mention your name. I'm never going to talk about your family. I'm never going to talk about what you do for a living. I'm never going to talk about any of these things because I love you. Because I love myself. So for all of you individuals who want me to respond, you shouldn't want me to. You should be responding to the negative energy you're subjecting yourself to. Because you're in that same energy. You're in that same energy because you're allowing it. And you're complicit in it because you're participating. You're participating in it, Morris. You don't understand. This is not just about me. This is about us all. This is about each and every one of us. So don't participate in negative energy. Don't participate. Turn the station. Turn it off. And if it's your platform that negative energy is being stewed on, it's your platform. On that platform, you're sovereign, right? Why are you allowing it? So I say these things because I love you, and I want you to get outside of your lower self, because our people love negative energy because they're in their lower self. Now, when I see people running from something, that's running from something, right? Why would I run to it? Why would I willingly go to something negative? Why would you want me to? Y'all got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, because we all owe ourselves, but we are bound by cords that unite thee. So we're already united, Moors. I read that earlier. Did I not read that earlier? It was the first part of chapter 1. where we're all bound by the same cords and we are all attached. We are all one, even if we are not acting in that capacity that we are one. And the only way we're coming on the other side of this is together. So, Moors, I'm never going to create a schism. I'm never going to sit here and talk bad about you on a social platform. I'm never going to do that. No matter how much you think you're going to provoke me to, I'm in love. And I love you. Even if you hate me. I don't care you hate me. Don't give a damn. I won't say it. I wanted to read that one part again before I close. It might be I think it's on it's just in chapter 1 where it talks about we are all bound by the same cords and we are all connected. And let me tell you, and when I was in the temples with the Moors, having these spiritual enlightenments, because when you're out in the world, you're constantly being attacked by this, right? The reasons people go to temples, the reason people go to churches, the reason people go to synagogues is to get away from this. And at least start to move to this. That's why they're there. That's why you're there. But if you're only gonna be here for an hour out of your whole week, it's not doing what you need to stop going and start reading. Or go and read, or at least have an honest communication. And if you're not getting fed the spiritual aspect, because the spiritual aspect is what I go to the temples for. I get it for my spiritual salvation. I get it to connect with Moors who are on the same frequency as it relates to that circle 7, or I keep saying circle 7, like I said, that Holy Quran, that Bible, that Constitution, that trust, that treaty. It's all of those things, that contract. And I'm going to close with chapter 25, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. The Holy Covenant. Number 1, ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, in the breast of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell within thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relationship that bindeth thee to love and unity. And prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If our brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to our support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in love in each other. So if you're in your lower self, let's figure out how to get you here. Call me. We can have a conversation. But it got to be here. Because I'm not talking about this stuff. And I'm not going to participate in anybody who is. I mean, I could say certain things, but that would be me coming here. And I'm not going to let you seduce me to come here. Because like I said, this is in us all. We don't lose it. We just learn to rise above our sins, as they said in, one of the movies that I love to watch. We don't never get rid of our lower self. We never get rid of the sin within us. We only learn to rise above it. We rise above it by our actions, words, and deeds. So make your actions purity in thought and nature, and they will manifest that. I love all of you. Even if you're talking about me on social media, I could care less. Like I said, I don't care. I'm not here for popularity. I'm here to get this done. I'm not a politician. I keep trying to tell you this. I'm here to get it done because of the women and the children and you sons that deserve it. Even if you don't work towards that progression, towards that act. I love you. And I'm going to leave you with this. 5 on the left, 5 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector. Allah is my guide. By night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. And I think I missed some pieces because I'm too busy looking at myself because this is a video camera. So let me start over and let me get my frequency right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector. Allah is my guide. By night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Ameen. Islam, Islam, Islam. Peace and love. Presentation of this presentment will follow.